Yeah, look, yeah, I mean, I made a fair bit of wind. I think who's been following me on social media knows my opinion of it.
Bad day. Give up. Go home and sleep. Fuck it. Try again tomorrow. Not every bad day can become a good day. Some days are fucked and cannot be unfucked.
You know, Nice is second best. Simply given the history, I mean, that's where it's come from. But as we all know, second best in triathlon is a long way off. I mean, the race, you know, that stands out to people who don't even know the sport is always Hawaii. You know, that was the most annoying question when I was Olympic champion, and I thought I was the sports business, and people asked me, "Have you ever done Hawaii?" And I'm like, "What are you on about? I've done the Olympics." But you know, Hawaii is the Wimbledon of our sport, and that's how it stands, and that's how it will be. And you know, you can't move Wimbledon to Manchester, and you can't move it to Cologne, and you can't move it to Warsaw. It's just not the same. Despite all of those locations probably having something to offer, and that's the thing. Personally, of course, you know, I'm like, I've figured out Hawaii. Like, I made myself adapt to Hawaii, and I try and see the challenge in it, and see that I have to reinvent myself, that I have to certainly find myself being a climber. But then I look at the positives of it. It's almost like I had a crystal ball, and I realized I needed to move to the mountains, and the proper mountains, so I could learn how to climb on a bike more efficiently. And you know, 2,400 meters of climbing, I think the course offers, which is roughly double of Hawaii. That will require a fair bit of preparation. But again, I got to look at the positives, and that decision's been made. So signing a petition, I really don't think is going to interest anyone at Ironman very much. Let's be honest, it's a corporation, it's a business. They run the business, they're there to create numbers, and they seem to be good at it. So unfortunately, there's not much we don't have a say in it. You know, they can do whatever they want, and we'll just have to enjoy the women's race and appreciate it even more. And yeah, it's just, in my personal case, I'm running out of time to be competitive again in 2024, and therefore we'll look at the challenge that I'm faced with and reinvent myself to the best of my abilities, and get my team lined up, and certainly put up a strong fight.
So that was the other question we had. Is 2024 looks like it's not off the cards. It's definitely in the plans at the moment.
No, 2024. Look, yeah, I'm focused on 23, and I'm focused on delivering in 23. You know, I feel like my body's got it. I feel like I'm hungry, and I really want this year to work. But then I also see that I have a responsibility to my family, and my kids are only young once. And, you know, I can see myself doing 2024. I really want to go and visit places around the world, because our sport offers epic races and epic locations, you know. And I've never raced long distance in South America. I'd love to go and see a little bit more of Asia. I'd love to go to Italy, for example. You know, there's lots of races out there that I'd love to see, and you can't draw it out infinitely. And for me, having that pressure again of having one last shot is just, it's something I enjoy. I live for the pressure. I love it, and having a unique opportunity. So eventually there has to be a point, you know, and I don't want to be that guy who just fades out. I want to be competitive. I still want to win races. And yeah, I think, you know, I'm at a point mentally where I can really offer my very best for another season, and then take it from there.
Yeah. And just a quick one on that. You mentioned a couple of locations. Any specific races on your bucket list aside from, you know, another World Championships?
You know what? I really would love to go, you know, either Mexico, Brazil, somewhere around there. That really is something I'd like to do. I would love to do one of the classic old school American races. I don't even know which ones are still around, but there are a lot of shorter distances, non-drafting races that just have a lot of history. I would probably love to go full circle and do a long distance race in South Africa, simply because that's where my career started. And yeah, like I said, find a cool race somewhere in Italy, simply because viewers, you're not going to find a better meal at a race, and you're not going to find too much more passionate fans. They're just very much out there. And yeah, funny enough, other than that, yeah, maybe one of the Asian islands. I don't know, somewhere. Yeah, I actually don't really know the calendar, but somewhere around the tropical craziness of Asia.
Awesome.
So a very warm welcome to another video. Again, another interview with Jan from the Supersapians podcast that they held with him a little while ago, or a few days back. And essentially, you know, he's giving a more nuanced view and a more reflective view on his opinion about Kona, no longer being the site of the World Championships for the professional men in 2023, and the idea that there will be the professional women competing in Kona in 2023, but the men will be competing in Ironman Nice, and then likely vice versa for 2024. So I think all in all, you know, it's good to see that Jan has taken a more of a positive, or at least taken somewhat of a positive spin on the whole situation. It's inevitably, I guess it's very hard for him to hide his disappointment with his age and hoping to get another Kona victory at the World Championships. But obviously, you know, that time is running away from him, and his initial disappointment was very, very evident. I'm sure he's still quite, you know, would rather it be otherwise not the case, that they've changed the location of the professional men. However, what is interesting is that, you know, there's always positives and negatives to anything. And I think that some athletes, professional athletes, men, will be quite stoked about this decision, because we know that there are certainly professional athletes who absolutely underperform and dislike Kona, because one, it is more generally, it's going to be hotter than Nice at that time of the year, but even if it's not, it's going to be a lot more humid, which changes the dynamics of the race. There's also going to be a lot more climbing, so athletes who prefer a climbing race versus a flat race, Kona is by no means flat, but there are more actual climbs rather than just big rolling hills in Nice than there otherwise are in Kona. So it'll benefit some, it won't benefit others. The other thing is, do the professional men still give this the same level of respect and prestige that they would otherwise give Kona? And I think that, again, this will be different between professionals. You know, the Kona, the pure Kona fans or the pure Kona supporters may not necessarily think that Ironman Nice World Championship has as much prestige, but I'm sure there will be many who otherwise do. But in saying that, do they kind of more focus on chasing money at the later half of the season than really going 100% all in for Ironman Nice because it's not Kona, if that makes sense? I think one benefit is that it will give Ironman in general more exposure, you know, but, you know, I guess that's always a goal of Ironman as a business and a corporation. And then what do we feel about the different locations for the men and women? You know, I think it's quite strange to be having a World Championships at a different date and a different location for men and women. And also, how does this affect age groupers? So, you know, you could be a couple, you have a guy and a girl or a man and a woman, go to a race, say Ironman New Zealand or Ironman Australia, wherever. They both qualify for the Ironman World Championships. Fantastic. We get to go together. Oh, wait, no, we don't. You'll be going to Nice. You'll be going to Kona. So it kind of throws a spanner in that whole works, in terms of you're going to have one race qualifying for the Ironman World Champs. But that individual, you know, those between men and women, it doesn't mean at all the same thing in terms of where you'll be racing, when you'll be racing. And I think that's quite strange, in my opinion. Nonetheless, again, Jan putting a positive spin on the whole thing, aiming to improve his climbing, aiming to be more adaptive and resilient, or more of a, adaptive and able to kind of race across multiple terrains. I'm sure Jan would be a good climber nonetheless, like he's a pretty lean guy. But all in all, I think it's very weird. But, you know, we can only look for the positives, and I just hope that this doesn't undermine the overall respect too much that Ironman has as being the Ironman World Championships in Kona, and it doesn't undermine the prestige and, you know, I guess overall appreciation for what it actually means to win an Ironman World Championships. So take care, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. Let me know what your thoughts are below. I'm sure it's 50. I'm sure it's, you know, it's definitely split, probably not 50-50. More people are probably upset than otherwise, but let me know why you are upset, why you're not upset, and what you actually think this means for Ironman in the future, and whether they'll continue with this or whether this may well be the downfall of the whole corporation. So let me know what you guys think. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.